Okay, we are at question 14. Question 14 talks about area of triangles. So you're supposed to find area of the unshaded part. That means the white part. There are certain questions which has shaded but wants you to find unshaded. So be very careful when you read the question, because some of you dwell straight into the pictures thinking that they only want you to find the shaded, because as always, most of the time we want you to find shaded, but there are also times where we want to find the unshaded as well. Okay, now as of the lessons, we always like to label names for the triangle so that we know what we're finding. Now let's use one color for the area of triangle C first. Okay, the C over here consists of the one that includes the shaded part. So it seems that the shaded part is interrupting us, right? Now let's find out what is the shaded part first, shall we? Shaded part, I'm going to call it A. So we're going to find out what is the area of A. Okay, now the base over here is already given. The base is actually 3, whereas the height from the highest point down, okay, that's actually 2. So 3 times 2 gives you 6, and you want half of it, that gives you 3. Okay, so the shaded part is done. Now I'm going to use back purple for one color to find out for C, area of C. Yeah. Alright, now same thing, triangle is always a half. Now what is the base then? The base will be from 5 combined with this 3. So this makes up the whole base. This base is a total of 8. And the height will be, is given also, is actually 6 from the side. So I'm going to multiply it by the height, which is 6. 8 times 6 is 48. Half of it will be 24. Alright. Now, let's go on with a third different color. And this time around, let me just use a different color. It's going to call this triangle B. And this B triangle, the pink color one that I have here, is called area of B. Alright. Now, area of B has a total of what base? 3 and 2. So the base is actually a total of 5. The height is a combination of 2 as well as 4. So it makes a total of 6. 4 plus 2 is 6. 5 times 6 is 30. Half of it will be 15. Alright. Now that's not the end. I cannot just simply add the numbers in. Because if you look at the pictures, area of C actually included the green part, the shaded part, which I don't want. So what I'm going to do is, to find out the actual unshaded part, I have to take C minus away the shaded part of 3. Okay, this is one part of the unshaded. Now, let's move on to the right side. The right side, the unshaded part is made up of the big triangle B, but you have to remove the unshaded part A as well, right? So 15 was A for B. I have to take away the shaded part of 3 as well. So this gives me 12. Alright, now when I add together, okay, I have spotted a mistake, so I'm just going to change the mistakes on my video here. The height for this B is actually 4. Alright, so this gives me a total of 20. 20, half of it will be just 10. So let me erase. This is 10. So for the unshaded B, I will have to take 10, the area, minus the shaded, which is 3. So 7. Now 21 and 7 will give me a total of all the unshaded part, which is equals to 28. So 28 is the answer for this question. Alright, so for the units, of course, 28 square centimeters. That's question 14. Question 15. You have got 3 glasses and you pour from A to B, B to C. In the end, all 3 glasses contain the same amount of water. Now this is a question of before and after. Alright, in what we learned in primary 4, it is also something to do with what we call as working backwards. Okay, you want to take on the time machine to go back to the time before. So since the only easy clue that is given is that they got the same amount of water and no water was lost, alright, it wasn't evaporated, it wasn't poured away, they were just transferred from here to from here to there. Their difference never changed. Sorry, their totals in the end never change. It is still 3, 6, 4, 2. So if the 3, 6, 4, 2, I'm going to divide it by 3 because they said they had equal amount of water left. So to do that, alright, I divide it by 3 and I get this number. I will know that this is what each glass will have. Okay, so let me just use pictures like how we have always been doing with working backwards. I have 1, 2, 1, 4. This is for, let me write it smaller because I will need the space for something else later. This is for A. It is 1, 2, 1, 4. Now, B, glass B, also has 1, 2, 1, 4. And for glass C, at the end of it, also 1, 2, 1, 4. Okay, now all these 1, 2, 1, 4 are in pink. Alright, one color. And I'm going to just put it at the side to remind myself. Pink stands for what happens after all the thing has been transferred. Now I'm going to take on a second colored pen, a different colored pen. I want to go back to the time where it says before. Alright, so let's start with working backwards. Now, what happens before? Okay, before 250 ml of water was poured from A to B. Before A was poured into B, that means before that, A had 250 more before it was being poured away. So I added plus 250 because I want to go back to the time before the water was being poured in. Before it was being poured in, A had more, right? A had 250. Whereas for B, before it was being transferred, in fact, B had lesser. Alright, before it was transferred to B, B actually had lesser. So 1, 2, 1, 4 wasn't what was before. It was before it was being transferred, actually it got lesser. Okay, so that is for 250. And then let's go on to the next story. This part of the story is done. I put a tick. Now next, 500 milliliters of water from B was transferred to C. Okay, now let's find out what this number is first. 1214 minus 250 gives me 964. Okay, now with this 964, they said 500 milliliters of water from B was transferred to C. That means 964 before it was being transferred. This 964 is supposed to have 500 more. Before it was being transferred, before that, there should be more, right? So I'm adding the 500 back. And I get 1464. And whereas for C, before it was being transferred to C, this wasn't the amount. Alright, in fact, C had 500 lesser before it was being transferred. Alright, so the question is, how much water did glass B have at first? So you see this purple color, the second color that I have is for before, at first. The answer is already out. 1464. Alright, so you need to determine whether to plus or minus. Before it was being transferred, it ought to have more, it ought to have lesser, you make the decision. If before it's transferred, it ought to have more, you add. Alright, before it was transferred to C. So you add back the 500 to go back to the time earlier. So answer 1464. If you are confused, you may want to repeat this part here to understand, because this is a very good examination question that we love to ask. Alright, of time machine. Okay, so if you have understood, we moved on to question 16. Alright, now for those who are aware, this question can be actually solved using this skill called set. Because in fact, this Mr. Lim is actually buying tickets in groups, in sets. Alright, so what happens is that in each group, they are all together 10 tickets. So I'm going to just draw a picture to denote one set. Alright, this one set is made up of 10 tickets. And how much is the 10 tickets? It's supposed to be $88 per ticket. But every 10 tickets bought, there's a $25 discount. So if you pay $880, you get to have a discount of $25 for each set that you buy. So this gives me, with the calculator, 855. Okay, so one set actually just costs 855, and one set has about 10 tickets. Alright, now these are pictures to help. Now you paid a total of 2741. So let's find out roughly how many sets can this person buy. Because I know one set is going to cost 855, and the person spent a total of 2741. Alright, now when you press the calculator, you will realize that you end up with 3 point something something. Okay, you end up with a number 3 point something something. Now what does this 3 point something something mean? It means that you can at most buy 3 sets. Can you buy 4? You can't buy 4 sets. At most, this person bought 3 sets. Alright, the person didn't have enough to buy up to 4 sets. So let's just find out in these 3 sets, how much did he have to pay? Now we know that one set is 855. So 3 sets will actually be a total of 3 times 855. I get 2565. Alright. Now, but you know he didn't just pay like that, right? He paid 2741. Now 2741, take away the 3 sets, and I have a remaining of 176. Now, my question is, how many tickets can he buy with the 176 left? You know each ticket is $88. Alright, you have a remaining of 176. And you know each ticket is $88. So it's a very nice number. In the calculator, it will show you that, hey, with $176, I can actually buy 2 more tickets. Okay? Alright, now let's go to the question now. Let's say, how many tickets did this person eventually buy? Okay, now you know earlier first step, we found out the person bought at least 3 sets. In each set, there are altogether 10 tickets. Alright, so that's already 30 tickets. And with the extra money, he bought another 2 extra tickets. So altogether, he actually bought a total of 32 tickets. This is also your final answer, 32. Okay. Alright, now let's go on to question number 17. Now, because this question is about ratio, so we are going to skip this question first, and we are going to move on to question 18, the last question of this EPP. Alright, now question 18 says this: you have got this girl who is going to use 980 centimeters to make 2 types of ribbon. A small ribbon and a large ribbon. Okay, now they gave you the proportion. They said that in order to make 7 small ribbons, the length that you used is actually the same as that for 2 large ribbons. Alright, so what it's trying to say is that you know by common sense, alright, if you want to use the same meter of cloth, you can only make a smaller number of large ribbon. Right? At most you can make 2, but with the same ribbon, if you want to make smaller ribbons, you can actually make more. You can actually make up to 7. Okay? So what this question is actually testing you on is something that we kind of learned in primary 4 called substitution. Substitution actually refers to you changing something to another unit that is equivalent. Okay, now over here, there are 2 different types of units. You have got a small and you have got a big. So what I'm going to do is this, I'm going to change all the small ones to big ones. Alright, all the small things to all the big units. Now, if I know that 7 small ribbons gives me the same as 2 large ribbon, then the same question that says this: what about if I have 14 small? if I have 14 small ones, that means I'm actually able to make 4 large ones. Right? Going by proportion. 7 small was the same as 2 large. So 7 small, I can actually, instead of making 7 small, the same length, I can use it to make 2 large ribbon. So double it up, it means that if I can make 14 small, it's the same as me able to make 4 large. Double of it. So I've already answered part A. How many large ribbons if you want to make 14 small? Instead of making 14 small, I can make 4 large. That is for the first part of the question, for part A. Okay. Now we move on to part B now. Now part B is going to be a little tricky. Now the story says this. Your 980 centimeter of cloth is able to make 2 types of ribbon, a small and a large. Sounds very confusing. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, substitution tells me, why don't I change all the small ribbons to become like as though they are large ribbons. So the 980 centimeter of cloth allows me to make 14 small, which is the same as 4 large. And it also allows me to make 6 large one. Okay? So now, it is so much easier for me to compare because I know that I've changed all the ribbons into big ones. This 980 centimeter allows me to make up to 10 large ribbons. So I no longer look at small ribbons. I have changed those small ribbons to look like as though they are large ribbons. So this 980 centimeters are actually for 10 large ribbon. Alright, now let's find out. So it is like units now. 10 large ones, I can actually use up 980. And for me to make one large one, I just need to take 980 divided by 10. It gives me 98. Okay, so now that I know one large requires 98. Now let's go back to the question. They said that the length of the cloth used to make 7 small ribbons was the same as that for 2 large ribbons. So I'm going to find out for 2 large ribbons exactly how many meters of cloth is needed. 98 times 2, which is 196. Now 196 is needed to make 2 large ones. 196 is needed to make 1 large one. And it is the same as 7 small ones. Alright, it is the same as 7 small ones. 2 large ribbon requires 196. It's the same, right? They say that it's the same as 7 small ribbons. So if 2 large ribbons needs 196, 7 small ribbons will also need 196. So what was the length needed to make 1 small? So if you know that 7 small is 196, so I'm going to write down. 2 large is the same as 7 small. 7 small is also 196. Then I can simply just divide it to find what is the length of 1 small ribbon. That gives me the final answer, 28. Okay, so this question is about simplifying or substituting the larger one to become all small, so that it's easier for you to compare against. Alright, so if you are not sure, you might want to repeat the video and see how this question is being done again. Okay, so I'll see you in class. Bye bye.